Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Carman Show. They call me the Carman for one and only reason, and that's because I help people just like you make better car buying decisions. We got a good show tonight. I got some good information that I want to give you and help you with whatever situation you might be dealing with. And one of the things that I want to deal with first and foremost, because this is the Carman Show, and I always am about educating you, the automotive consumer. So, what I wanted to talk about is how credit scores affect the way you are buying a car. So, the credit score that you have will affect the type of car you can get, the interest rate you can get. It will affect all of that. And so ultimately what you want to do is that you want to kind of know where you're at. So I wanted to take some time to talk about that. First of all, if you are fortunate enough to a point to have a credit score above 600. So if you got a credit score above 600, you are actually, and this might sound funny, you actually, of the people that have good credit, you are at the bottom of the good credit people. Now, what happens is that if you ever meet somebody, or if you've ever been one of those people that have a 700 and 800 credit score, and it goes down to 600, you're going to feel a certain kind of way. But for the people that have subprime credit, the people that average 400 to 500 credit scores, you actually would have good credit. So you're kind of in the middle when it comes to having workable credit and how it affects you as far as the car is concerned. Now, also, the next level are people out here that have 500 credit scores. Whether you're a 500, whether you're 520, whether you're 580, you have a 500 credit score. And this is actually the norm. Most people, I would say half of the people out here, credit scores fit in the 500 credit score range. Now, typically, what happens is you're able to get into a vehicle. You're usually able to get approved, but you got to jump through some hoops. Now we're talking about the 400 credit score people. Now, these are the people who don't have the best of credit. But one of the things I will tell you is that if you have a 400 credit score, it is not the end of the world. It is not the end of the world. You have to understand that even if your credit score is that low, there are ways to help you get into a car and not have to worry about anything. Not have to worry about anything. So I want to encourage all of you. I specialize in helping people that have credit scores that are under 700. So there are a lot of people, the last 3 or 4 people that I dealt with had credit scores under 600. Let me say that again. The last 3 or 4 people that I dealt with had credit scores under 600. Now, one of the things that I can promise each and every one of you that have credit scores that are that low, that I treat you just like you want to be treated. You want to be treated like the people are treated that have 700 and 800 credit scores. Nobody should be treated wrongfully and unfairly. Now, the thing is that I can actually get you finance and help you get a lifetime warranty on your engine and your transmission. Lifetime warranty on the engine and transmission. So give me a call. Take advantage of what we're talking about. The number is 877-222-5022. That's 877-222-5022. Now, there are a lot of you out here that are dealing with situations with your credit and you don't know what direction to go. Now, the thing is that there's one of the things that I hear a lot of times people talk about is they talk about a soft credit pull, a hard credit pull. One fascinating thing is that the majority of people that I see that have their credit reports blocked are people that have bad credit. Let me say that again. A lot of times people that have bad credit have their credit reports blocked, where people that have 700 and 800 scores, they don't even think about it. So it's the mentality of where you're at. Now, my goal each and every show is to educate people and give you an idea of what to do, how to do it, and how to do it effectively when it comes to purchasing a car. So if you're out here and you have a situation where you have a low credit score and you're looking to get into a car loan with a nice warranty, and the beauty about it is we all want a good car. We all want a good car. So I want to be able to help you get a good car. My phone lines are open, 877-222-5022. That's 877-222-5022. Now, how do credit scores affect you buying a car? If you have a 600 credit score, you can probably get financed through a prime bank and get some good interest rates and get a decent car. If you are in the 500 range, you're probably, depending upon how bad the 500 is, what it is. Do you have a repo? Do you just have some collections? Whatever it is, you can usually get into a vehicle without a lot of hassle. Now, as far as all of my listeners out there that have the 400 credit scores, let me explain a couple things to you. One is that if you have a 400 credit score, being able to get finance, you're going to need a couple things. You're going to need to be able to have proof of income. You're going to need proof of income because the banks are going to want to know that you can afford a car. I had a person call me last week and actually had a repossession in the past, and also had a repossession that had just happened. So they had a repossession a year, 2 years ago, and then they had one that just happened, and they called me wanting to buy a car. And I had to explain to them that you cannot just go out and buy a car and not have any money down and think that a bank is going to take a chance on you. They just don't do that. They just don't do that. So there's a lot of things that you need to know when you are purchasing a car. There are a lot of things that you need to know when your score is affected. A lot of times people think that, this dealership told me I had to get this car because they were trying to get rid of the car. That's never the situation. That's never the situation. What happens is that the banks will finance cars based on, let me say this again, the banks will finance cars based on what you bring into the table. That's going to determine your interest rate. That's going to determine the amount of loan they give you. It's going to determine how much money you have. The amount of money that you're going to be required to put down, because a lot of times you're required to put money down. So listen, it's all about being a smart consumer. And, you may hear some of my commercials on the radio all the time talking about the different things on how I can help people that may have had some challenges. And this is so important for all of you that have tired of being turned down for a car loan because of your bad credit or low credit score. This is the Car Man. I've helped thousands of people across the country buy cars with bad credit with my Good Job Bad Credit car buying programs. I work with all jobs as long as you have a check stub. Call my approval hotline now and use your job to get approved for a new car today. All I need is a driver's license and a check stub. 877-222-5022. I have banks that are approving car loans between $7,000 and $25,000. Call now to see what you qualify for. 877-222-5022. I can get you approved on late model to new cars with car payments starting at $250. 877-222-5022. Bottom line, if you have bad credit and need a car, call me. I'll help get you approved today. All you need is a good job, a check stub, and a driver's license. 877-222-5022. That's 877-222-5022. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to the Car Man Show. They call me the Car Man for one and only reason, and that's because I educate consumers on the ins and outs of purchasing cars. Now, I talked about earlier how your credit score is going to affect you if you are in a bad credit situation. And 600 credit scores are good, workable. 500s are average, 400s are below average, but 400s don't mean that you're not able to get into a vehicle. So I want to encourage you that if you are in a situation like that, that you give us a call and see what we can do to help you out. Now, listen, the Carman Show is always about promoting new and upcoming entrepreneurs. If you have a business that you want to get in front of thousands of people, you want to promote what you're doing, you want to let people know, kind of how your business is, how your business is different than everybody else's. You want to get the message out. Well, I have the opportunity to be able to make that happen. All you got to do is give me a call and I can show you a platform immediately that will expose your business to thousands of potential consumers. So give me a call. The number is 877-222-5022 if you are a entrepreneur. And if you have a small restaurant or something like that, it doesn't matter. Business is business, and everybody needs to have their business exposed to the public. So I've been doing these shows a long time. I've helped an awful lot of people get into vehicles from really all around. I mean, I go as far as the south suburbs. I know a lot of you listening to me now are listening to me in Northwest Indiana, Gary, Griffith, Maryville. I've had people come and see me from Kankakee, obviously all of Chicago, Joliet, Country Club Hills, Richton Park, Park Forest. There are a lot of people out here that deal with, they deal with some issues and they hear me and they want to come and see what the car man is able to do. So I'm here to tell you that I can definitely help you out in your situation. What we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to come back. I think I got a special guest that's going to be calling in a few. But in the meantime, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey, how much of that song you want to play?
I want
It's 4
three.
minutes long.
Yeah, just play the song.
Just play it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, you got a coming up on a minute on this song.
Okay.
You ready to come in or?
Just let it play. I'm getting something.
Okay.
All right.
Hello.
Hey, I'm on the phone. I'm getting ready to put you live in a minute. Can you hear me?
Huh?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You actually got 20 seconds. You ready?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to the Carman Show. You're listening to the Carman Show. They call me the Carman for one and only reason, and that's because I help people just like you make better car buying decisions. I help people like you make better car buying decisions. And it's all about being a smart consumer. It's all about being a smart consumer. And that's really what we're all about here on this show each and every day. And I think we got our caller coming in. Hello, are you there?
We are here.
All right, all right. Hey, I just want to introduce. We have a special guest on the show this evening. We have Lisa and Rashida, and I'll have them introduce themselves. Go ahead.
Well, I'm Lisa.
And I'm Rashida.
And we are the Bennetts. Hey, listen, we're happy to join you guys tonight. Thank you for the invitation to come on. How do we introduce ourselves? Hey, so here's the deal. We are an LGBTQ couple. We've been together for about 20 years. We have achieved what most people call the American dream with a house, picket fence, careers and kids. But a lot of times we get asked to like, how do we navigate in a society or in an America that doesn't really acknowledge or want us here? How do we manage to make 20 years? So we're here to sort of give some guidance to that question and see if we can help people out.
So, tell us about you all's journey from, you say it's been 18 to 20 years. Tell us about your journey.
Oh, that's a long story. We ain't that
Give us
long.
the short version of it.
All right. So the short version is basically we met, and it has been a journey, a roller coaster ride from the beginning. We both are church. Lisa is a minister. I'm a PK, and over time, God being the center of our beings, and also in our marriage, that it just blossomed over time, and we've shared good, bad, ugly. But I tell you this much: it's a roller coaster ride that I wouldn't mind taking with. I would only take with this one person here.
Hey, we have a saying. We always say marriage ain't for punks.
Absolutely.
Hey, say that again. I think a lot of young people need to hear that.
Marriage ain't for punks.
Yep, marriage is definitely not for punks. And so now you all started a YouTube channel that gives advice to viewers who need straightforward answers to complicated issues. Talk to us about that.
We've been together so long, we deal with everything that any traditional heterosexual couple have to deal with, right? We have kids, we have issues around self-care, health, finances, blending families. We had to go through all of that. But sometimes people get so caught up in the fact that we're two women that they think that there's some anomaly and that the same kinds of conversations aren't happening in our households that are happening in everybody else's. And finance can be an argument.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Kids can cause an argument.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
But those same things can also cause you to come together. So it's really about a meeting of the minds, regardless of the gender.
So marriage is really marriage, regardless of what, race, religion, anything. Everything is it's about two people having to come together and kind of see if they can make it work. So tell us more about your YouTube channel.
Okay, so our YouTube channel is basically, it started off as just telling our story. And then it morphed into after telling our story, people started asking us questions, and they were just sending all the questions in, and so we began to more work with the people's questions, and so we would they'd ask the question, we would come back with our answers, but the difference in this is we would form our answers separately, and we would not know what each other was going to respond with until we were actually on the show. So we gave the most authentic version. You got our truest responses to each other's answers to these questions, and I tell you, it is very entertaining.
Because sometimes we have no idea. After 20 years of marriage, you change, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you start out when you're 20 years old, but by the time you're 40, 50 years old, you're not having the same thought process, and you're not necessarily thinking about some of the topics that we've long journeyed past. And so when younger couples come at us and say, well, what about this and what about that? We go, oh, I don't know what she thinks about that anymore because we haven't talked about that particular issue. So as Rashida said, we'll both know the question. We'll formulate our own answers, but we won't reveal what we both answer until we're live on the show. So we invite people to submit questions to us. Ask what you want to ask. Our job and our goal is to make sure that people know they're not alone. It's not a lonely journey. You can have an authentic relationship with whomever, and most importantly, you have the right to have an authentic relationship with Christ, your maker, if that's who you believe in. We're not telling you who to believe in, but we want to make sure that because you believe in a certain entity, you don't feel like you're ostracized or thrown out of the kingdom. That's just not true.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, you all have been together for 20 years, and think the viewpoints in the LGBTQ community have changed in 20 years. But there's still probably, young men and young women that are dealing with the issue of being afraid to talk about how they feel or trying to figure out how they feel. What message can you give to some of these young people out here?
Well, so I guess the biggest thing is for us is to just be authentic in yourself. We have a couple of shows on the YouTube that we specifically address those questions, because those questions are multi-layered. They come from the perspective of the parent, they come from the perspective of the person going through it, right? And so to the young person, understand this, that if your parents come to you and say something that is not exactly loving in the moment, they're not necessarily divorcing you or trying to get rid of you. What they're trying to do is come to grips with the fact that you may not have, or you may not be living up to this dream or fantasy they created in their heads. Let me give you a quick example of that, Don.
Mm-hmm.
I think every mother has a little girl, and the first thing she does is she starts to dream about this big Cinderella ball wedding. And
Mm-hmm.
so, and so she has this idea. She's planning that wedding from the time the child has her first tutu on. But what happens when your young little princess decides she wants to play basketball? That vision kind of goes in a different direction, and you're not so sure she'll ever wear that tutu. Doesn't mean that they don't love you as a child, but it does mean they have to divorce this image of who they wanted you to be. And so you have to give parents sort of time to get through that, and to come to grips.
Yeah, and what I was going to say and follow up with you, and you all say you have how many kids you got between you all?
4.
So, what is the challenge of in that community with kids, and how is that challenge dealt with?
Okay, so I'm just going to say the challenge would be in that community is people trying to ask you, well,
Whose are they?
whose are they? Who had them? What difference does it make where they came from? There are children. Do I ask you? No. But I can see why a lot of them are very curious. So sometimes their curiosity can come off offensive. But I think the key here is, listen, family is family. Your children are your children. It doesn't matter how they got there. Just be honest with you, our makeup of our children is complicated. I have 2, she has 1, then we have 1 we adopted. It's just what it is. And if you have any questions, just ask. Just be respectful about it.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's something I know that over the years, I grew up. My father had remarried, and I grew up in an interracial family 30 years ago, and I know how bad it was and how many things people said, and it just you kind of become numb to it. Talk to us about years of stupid comments and people saying inappropriate things, sometimes not even wanting to, but just their words sometimes come out the wrong way.
I think it's back to what Rashida just said. It's just that people are trying to articulate their curiosity, and for lack of a better way to do it, what is the etiquetely correct way to ask, like, who gave birth to a child? But again, what we encourage people to do is to dig deep inside and ask yourself, why is it necessary for you to actually have the answer to that question to begin with? When you meet a man and a woman who have children, you make the assumption that they are those folks' natural children. But you could find out years down the line that maybe the mother wasn't the birth mother, or maybe the father wasn't the birth father. But nobody ever asked them those questions. So it's kind of like, first dig deep in yourself and say, why do I need to know the answer to that particular question?
Why do you even need to tell? Why do I even need to answer this question? I mean, I know
Right.
sometimes that's probably it. So where is your tell the people about your YouTube and how they can find it and all of that.
So we've got a couple of ways you can get in touch with us. First of all, you can go to YouTube and just search for Lisa and Rashida Bennett. You can find the shows there. You can also go to our website, which is www.lisaandrashida.com. And if you have a burning question or desire you want to talk to us, we have a hotline set up so that you can ask the questions at 1-800-760-5988.
So listen, I know there are a lot of people out here that may have questions for them, that you want to talk to someone who you won't be judged. A lot of times you don't have anybody to talk to, especially the younger generation out here. I want to encourage each and every one of you to take a chance and give them a call. They are great people. They will help you get through whatever you're getting through because they've been through it, and they will make it easier for you. So give them a call. Give them the number once again.
1-800-760-5988. Let me say that one more time in case you missed it. 1-800-760-5988.
Hey, John, and we have
Yes.
this tagline that we like to deliver. We always say, we're answering questions that Google can't.
Hey, and that's a lot because Google can pretty much answer any question.
You're right.
So here's real quick. We're gonna put you to the test. What's a crazy question that maybe one of you all can think of that maybe you got that you was just like, wow, but no questions are really crazy.
Oh, go ahead.
This question that came in was from a young lady who said, "What do you do when you enter a relationship and you end up having bad sex?" I was like, "Whoa, whoa."
Well, that's universal for heterosexual as well as any other community in that answer. But what was your answer? And keep it, remember, we're on the radio, so you gotta.
Absolutely. We just said, have a conversation, see what each other likes and dislikes, talk about, do some research, books and movies. There's lots of stuff out there, but you got to communicate with that person.
And go ahead.
We always say, you can't, whoever you're with today is not the same person you were with yesterday or the day before or last week. So they don't have the same buttons, if you will. You, again, like Rashid said, you got to communicate. I always say like this, you're going to have to teach some things and you're going to have to learn some things.
Very well.
Absolutely. I like that. You got to be a teacher and you got to be a student.
That's right.
That's definitely. So one of the things before we let you get out of here that you all hit on, communication is the number one thing in relationships, regardless of who you are. Talk to us about how communication really changes the landscape of relationships.
So communication, the biggest thing is about expectations and allowing each other the space. And there can be some difficult topics. And so I'll give you something that we do a lot. You have to what we did was we made up sort of like game rules game or I would say boundaries for each other. So, for example, Rashida has a mother. I had a mother. My mother's now deceased. Rashida's mother's still with us. But when it came to, let's say, should I get this? Should I do this for my mother? Should you do that for your mother? What we do is we have honest conversation, but we let the person whose mother is. So Rashida makes the final decision about what she does for her mother based on our finances. And I make the final decision about what we do for my mother. This way, we're not into judgment of whose mother is most important. But what we've done is we've put a solid rules, a game of rules, or I'll say blanket of rules on the table to say, this is the way we're going to make these kinds of decisions. When we get ready to loan money, this is the way we're going to make these kinds of decisions. And if you just abide by the rules and you're clear about what each other should expect in playing by those rules, things go a lot smoother.
So now, here's a last question. So obviously, you all have developed into where you are. Who was the first person that kind of opened up the door to communication?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, I was gonna say I approached her.
What I'm saying is that once you all got together, because in a relationship, you still kind of getting to know somebody. You don't let everything out initially. It kind of takes some time, and eventually one person will kind of open that door.
We're still probably both nodding our head saying it's probably me. I was a executive, a change manager, I'm a process development kind of person. That's the way my mind works. And so over the years, as I've watched other relationships, I kind of knew what I wanted and what I didn't want, what I thought worked bad or worked well. And we were fortunate. We went to a church in New York where most of the congregants were in their 70s and 80s, and a lot of the couples had been married for 50 years. Mm-hmm. And so we would ask them questions about, how did you get past this? How do you communicate? What are the rules? Do you have rules? You have ground rules, regulations. And when they shared that kind of stuff with us, we would formulate sort of how we wanted to play the game while we were dating. And then we came up with our set of rules once we got married. And now that's been our covenant.
So we don't want to know everything, but tell us one rule that has worked for you all that may be able to help somebody else.
What's the rule that's worked?
We do not go to bed mad at each other. Not ever, not at all. No.
I can think of one that maybe even trumps that too.
Okay, come on.
So here's the thing. We have a prenup. The rule to our marriage is
divorce is not an option.
When you take divorce off the table, then that says we can talk about anything. We're going to talk about anything. We're going to change, but walking out the door is not an option.
And I think that's a great note to end on, because I think that as people evolve, divorce becomes a quick option. And I think, taking that off the table definitely helps things go smoother. Well, listen, we definitely appreciate this brief conversation. We want to definitely give out your YouTube information. So for people, not only the YouTube information, but also give out your contact number. Listen, if you would like to talk to them in a private conversation, they're going to give you their number to call, and you can check out their YouTube channel. Go ahead.
You can give us a call at 1-800-760-5988. And you can find us on YouTube at Lisa and Rashida Bennett. LisaandRashida.com.
Hey, well, listen, we appreciate you coming on, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Hey, that was our friend Lisa and Rashida. Well, hey, if you just tuned in, you're listening to the Car Man Show, and they call me the Car Man for one and only reason, and that's because I help people just like you make better car buying decisions. My goal each and every show is to help you as a consumer get into a better situation. So what I want to do is that I have a commercial that I play all the time that talks to a lot of people that may be dealing with some issues, and just check it out. We all about helping people at the Car Man Show. Tired of being turned down for a car loan because of your bad credit or low credit score? This is the Car Man. I've helped thousands of people across the country buy cars with bad credit with my Good Job Bad Credit car buying programs. I work with all jobs as long as you have a check stub. Call my approval hotline now and use your job to get approved for a new car today. All I need is a driver's license and a check stub. 877-222-5022. I have banks that are approving car loans between $7,000 and $25,000. Call now to see what you qualify for. 877-222-5022. I can get you approved on late model to new cars with car payments starting at $250. 877-222-5022. Bottom line, if you have bad credit and need a car, call me. I'll help get you approved today. All you need is a good job, a check stub, and a driver's license. 877-222-5022. That's 877-222-5022. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. You're listening to the Carman Show. They call me the Carman for one and only reason, and that's because I help people just like you make better car buying decisions. Speaking of making a better car buying decision, one of the things I wanted to briefly talk about is what if you bought a bad car, or what if you bought a bad car and a bad car loan, or a good car with a bad car loan? Both of those situations don't sit right with you. Let's talk about the car situation first. If you have a car that you bought that is bad, here are some of the reasons that I say it's a bad car. One is a lot of you all are financing cars that have extremely high miles when you bought them. You bought a car with 135, 140,000 miles. And a lot of times these cars are older. So, I had a young lady who was just in to see me the other day, and she had a car that she had it was like a 2012 or 2013, and she owed $14,000 on a car that probably should not be worth no more than about $5,000. So there are a lot of people out here financing 2012s to 2015s, and these cars are not worth what you are paying for them. A lot of times you're buying these cars from these buy here, pay here's, and they are basically charging you what they want, and you're paying them directly. You're not even getting paid by, you're not even financing through a bank. That is the reason. The reason why is because the banks would know not to loan $14,000 on a car that's a 2012 and shouldn't be no more than about $5,000. Some of you bought cars, and talking about people that got bad car loans, some of you bought cars that was a lemon from day one. That was a lemon from day one. I have many people that say that they have had cars less than 3 or 4 months, and sometimes they got to have a brand new engine put in there. That they have to pay for the labor. So there are a lot of people out here that are in these situations. A lot of you out here have cars that you don't have a warranty on. And the warranties that you do have don't cover the stuff that's going to go wrong. Have you ever had a problem with your car and took it in because you had a warranty and found out that the warranty doesn't cover anything? So there are a lot of people out there like that. So as I'm saying, what happens if you bought a bad car or got a bad car loan? A lot of you have extremely high interest rates. Extremely high interest rates, 18, 19, 20, 25%. That is not a good situation to have on an older car, because most of the time, a lot of times you end up getting these older cars. There's not a lot of options available. But my thing that I tell people, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But if you're financing an older car, if you get an older car that costs you a little bit more, is worth a little bit less than what you paid, but you realize this is going to get you back and forth to work, that's not a problem. The problem is holding on to that vehicle longer than you should. The key for a lot of you is to make sure you stay in as new a car as possible. You need to stay into as new a car as possible, because if you don't stay in a newer car, you're probably going to have warranty issues. You're going to have mechanical issues. You're going to have a lot of things that are going to go wrong. So I urge you to definitely take advantage of upgrading your car. So listen, I'm getting ready to take a break, give you an opportunity to call the Carman hotline. So if you're out here and you bought a bad car, or you got a bad car loan and you want a better car, you want a better car loan, you want a better finance company. A lot of you are dealing with a lot of headaches. So give me a call if you want to find out what to do next. The number is 877-222-5022. That's 877-222-5022. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey, how long you want this to play?
3 minutes.
4:42. 4 minutes.
Yeah, 3
42.
minutes. 3 minutes.
Okay,
All
gotcha.
right.
Was you ready to come in?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to the Carman Show. Now I want to talk about another major problem: the risk of riding around in a car with no warranty. Most people out here that buy anything want a warranty. I actually just came from the store and bought something, and they asked me, do you want to get an extended warranty? There, people don't buy things if they can't take them back. People don't buy things to just without any type of protection. Now, the thing with cars is that it costs so much to have a car fixed that you have to have a warranty. And the thing about it is, if you don't have a warranty on a car, you're going to run into these possible issues. So the average, and I'm in these prices, I'm basically averaging them out based on you getting it done on the street and getting it done at a dealership. So an average brake job could go anywhere from $300 to $500 on average. Most consumers can handle that if that comes up, and you got to pay $300-$400 in that case. Now, if you had to have a alternator or a starter, that's about $300 to $500. And again, you can pretty much, if it's going to get your car running, you can do that. Now, what happens if you have major engine work? That bill is going to be on average between $800 to $1,200. Now, that repair right there could affect you making your car payment, because a lot of you out here will not make your car payment because you got to pay to have the car fixed so that you can get to work. So it's important to understand that without a warranty, you are going to run into that. Without a warranty, you're going to run into that. And that is going to be really nothing that you can do to stop that, because in order to get the car running, you're going to have to pay that money. Now, if you need an engine or transmission, the cost is so high that there is a high percentage of people that let their car go. Let me say that again. There's a high percentage of people out here who have cars that they need an engine or a transmission, and the odds of them fixing that, most of them don't. So if the engine and transmission goes out and you don't have a warranty, you got a problem. And so what I'm here to tell you today is that a lot of you are financing a car without a warranty. A lot of you are financing a car that possibly has problems. You got mechanical and engine problems and you don't have a warranty. Well, I'm here to tell you that I want to be able to help you in your situation, because I believe that every car that you are financing, every car that you are financing, you should have a warranty. You should have a warranty, because if you don't have a warranty, then you possibly, I always say, it's like a time bomb waiting to explode, because it's not going to be a matter of if you are going to have some problems. It's just going to be a matter of when. And so I say to you is that regardless of what your overall situation is, there has got to be a smarter way to finance cars. And that's really what I do here on the show. The risk of riding around in a car with no warranty is huge. It's huge. It could cost you a lot of money. It could cost you a job. It could cost you being late for the biggest appointment of your life. It could cost you a lot. And the reality of it is that it can be avoided just by getting a warranty. So I'm going to give out the phone line now. If you're out here and you're financing a car without a warranty, call me. Let's see what we can do to help you. The number is 877-222-5022. I can help you get out of a car that really is not doing you any justice because it doesn't have a warranty. So listen, we got a little less than 5 minutes left. I mean, a little less than 10 minutes left before we get out of here. I want to talk about 3 programs that I have that are programs that we've used to help a lot of people. The first program is the High Interest Rate Reduction Program. The High Interest Rate Reduction Program is a program that's geared toward helping people who have higher than normal interest rates, which on average are over 20%. There are a lot of people that are financing cars and they have interest rates over 20%. And that 20% interest rate on an older car, on a car that doesn't have a lot of value, is going to make most of you upside down. So I always encourage people that if you've had a car, you have an interest rate over 20%, and you've had it for a long time, and you maybe have less than a year to pay, you need to see what options you have, because there are better options available for you. There are people right now that are listening to me that have interest rates that are 20%. You can call me tonight, 877-222-5022. But you can call me, and by this time next week, you could be driving in a newer car, a lower interest rate, and a payment that's close to what you're paying. So that is a win-win situation for all of you. So whatever your situation is, take advantage of the the program in being able to upgrade your car. upgrade your car, and get a better overall situation. The number is 877-222-5022. Now, the other program kind of ties into the program that I just talked about, and is our last leg car buying program. The last leg car buying program works like this. If you've had a car that you've had and you're financing it, but it's on its last leg, the car is going to break down any day now. The car is going to break down any day, and you want to make sure that you can be a step ahead of that when it comes to when it breaks down, because cars always break down when you don't have enough money. You ever notice that? Like, if you just got the biggest bonus that you've ever had in your life, $10,000 or whatever it is, and you get a $800 bill to fix your car, you're probably a little bothered. But what you're going to do is say, oh, man, okay, I might as well pay it. I got to. You ain't got no options. But have that same bill come when you don't have $800 and you don't even have $700 or $600. You're not going to have anything till the next time you get paid. So now you got to wait till you get paid. And when you got to wait till you get paid, you run into other situations, meaning you got to catch rides or get in Ubers, and you start spending the money and you start to spiral in a downward direction. And so it's important to understand that if you're financing a car that's on its last leg, listeners, I encourage you to give me a call, because financing a car on its last leg is doing nothing, especially if you do not have a warranty and you're financing a car that's got some issues. If you can get that car to me, I can possibly get you another car. Let me say it like that. You looking for another car, you know this car got check engine lights, you got this light, you got that light, and especially for all of my listeners that have less than 1 year to pay on their car. If you have less than 1 year to pay on your car, you have got to see what options you have. You have got to see if there is a way that you can get into something else, because a lot of you that have less than a year to pay, I can actually get you into another car and keep your payments very close, if not lower than what you're paying. Let me say that again. If you have a car that you're financing and you have less than a year to pay, I can a lot of times get you into a lower payment. I can get you into a lower payment and a better car. And it's just as simple as a phone call. 877-222-5022. That's 877-222-5022. And last but not least, there are people out here who have had some bad car loans. There are some people out here that have had some bad cars. And the car man, that's what they call me, I'm about helping people improve their situation. So I'm going to put it out there that if you are in a bad car, which is a car that got a lot of miles, a car that doesn't have a warranty, a car that got body damage, a car that got other damage, a car that has 200,000, 150, 180,000 miles. If you are in one of those cars, you need to call me. See what your options are. That's the thing I always tell people. When you're financing cars, you always need to explore your options. You need to explore your options. You need to see what's out here. So if you are in one of those situations, feel free to give me a call. Now, if you are in one of those situations where you're in a bad loan, you're in a bad loan. Now, a bad loan is different than a bad car. Sometimes you can be in a bad loan and a bad car. But a bad loan means that you have an extremely high interest rate on a car that probably doesn't carry any value. So when you have a car that doesn't carry any value and you have a high interest rate, you end up being way upside down. Let me tell you, when you have a high interest rate loan, all of that interest is front loaded. So you pay for it in the beginning of the loan. not at the end or not spread out. You pay for most of that interest up front. So ultimately what happens is that you end up having so much, what's the word I'm trying to think of? You end up having so much negative equity. You end up having so much negative equity that you can never catch up. I mean, some people ask me, what's the worst negative equity that you've seen? I saw somebody that had an Audi truck. I always tell this story. He had an Audi truck that he was like, man, I got this truck. It's real nice. And I'm like, okay, all right. So then he tells me what year it was. It was a 10-year-old vehicle. And then the most important thing, he told me how many miles. His miles were extremely high. So the value, I looked it up and looked it up and looked it up. The value of the vehicle was hovering around $10,000. Guess how much money he owed? He owed $28,000. So he owed $28,000. Now, this is a guy that has a 700 or 800 credit score. His credit was good, but he bought a car that he just got a bad loan. Had nothing to do with a high interest rate. He just got a bad loan. He bought a truck that was probably about $50,000 to $70,000. He really wanted it. He bought it. It had close to 100,000 miles on it. He overpaid for it because he felt the value was there, and he ended up paying dearly. And I wasn't able to help him, but I know that I don't know if he ever got out that vehicle. And there are a lot of you out here like that. So listen, my time is about up. I just want to say thank you to everybody that is tuned in to the show. It's all about being a smart consumer. That's what I do here on the show. So listen, if you have a high interest rate and you want to get out of it, you call me. If you have a car that you're financing on this last leg, you can call me. If you have a bad car loan, call me. Bottom line, any of your car situations that you need my help, feel free to call me. My toll-free number is available right now. You can call 877-222-5022. That's 877-222-5022. Remember, you can with Carman. God bless.